All right, shall we say our affirmation together, please? That which I thirst for is that which is pulling me closer to my God, my unlimited good. I want to thank Reverend Eileen for leading the service last Sunday. She did a wonderful job. Give her some love and appreciation. We are in the middle of studying the 7 last words. As you know, we do a recap each Sunday. The 7 last words are the 7 sayings that Jesus spoke on the cross. And what they really are is a metaphysical blueprint for transformation. This is the time of the year, the season, where we look within ourselves to say, what must be crucified? Crucified metaphysically means crossed out. What are you done with? What is no longer serving you on your journey? Sometimes it's things of this world. Jobs, people, things change. And although we don't like it, when it's time, it's time. But also, and more importantly, is what within us is changing. What within us is wanting to be released. Ways of thinking, ways of feeling, ways of being or playing small that no longer serve you in your spiritual awakening. Easter Sunday, 2 weeks from now, is the day that we celebrate the resurrection into the Christ light, into the power that you are here to be. It is not a day for a person thousands of years ago. It is our day, a constant, forever renewing that we can rise up and awaken. Into what? Into an infinite expression of being. The next layer of your consciousness, of your conscious expansion is a plenty. You don't need to go all the way out unless you want to. But mostly we just like to go a layer at a time. So that's what this is about. So a little recap. The first word is Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And it tells us that wherever we're moving into letting go of something, changing something, our first step is forgiveness. We must release the past. Edwin Gaines, one of my dear friends, says in her book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, she says, forgive everyone all the time, just in case you're wondering. Right? Everyone all the time. Big calling, isn't it? But you don't get to carry your baggage up to God. Not interested. So we begin by lightening our load. Then we move into the second word, you shall be with me in paradise. And this is when Jesus is speaking to the gentleman on the cross to his left and to his right, representing metaphysically the past and the future, bringing them together into the now moment, which is where God is. And all the time you journey into the past, you disconnect from your power. When you journey into the future, you disconnect from your power. The only real life is here now. And paradise is here now. And so it's the invitation to not look back, to not look forward, to be here now in your journey. The third word, Jesus said to his mother, woman, this is your son. Then he said to his disciple, this is your mother. And this is an invitation for oneness, to really know that everyone in this world, brother, sister, it is all a part of us. Everyone in this room is a part of you. They are your reflection. You have created this entire gathering in your consciousness. Good job. It's all yours. And this is a big step. Wherever you are, the grocery store, driving on the street, at a party, in your home, wherever you are, the people that are around you are your reflection, and you are one with them. This is something that the human mind cannot comprehend. You can't conceive this with your human self. This is an awakening of the heart, an awakening of the spirit, where you suddenly feel it. You feel a oneness, and that oneness feels like compassion. That oneness feels like an ability to suddenly be interested in supporting someone, in hearing someone. That's your oneness. It's connection. It's connection. And as you evolve on your spiritual path, you grow in understanding that everyone is with you and lifted up by you. The fourth word, which Reverend Eileen talked about last week, powerful one. My God, why have you forsaken me? Interesting. Right in the middle of the journey. right in the middle of the journey, which is important for us because as we are being crucified, as we are crossing out old beliefs, halfway through, it's dark before the dawn, right? You're like, why is this happening to me? Why did they leave? Why did that happen? Why? And the direction here is to let that voice come out. Don't pretend. You New Thought people love to pretend, all is good, all is good, all is good. And it is true, but there are times when because it's all good, you must feel everything, right? So a very powerful step in the journey, which when you do, leads us to the fifth word, which is I thirst. I love it. 2 words. I thirst. In the story, again, we kind of go to the physical experience of it. Jesus is dying and thirsty, and it is said that someone kind of wets a sponge with vinegar and touches his mouth to quench the thirst. But that's not really what this is about on our spiritual evolution. To thirst is that something inside of you that will always rebirth. No matter if everything in your world is wiped out, there will come a moment where life itself will awaken inside you and say, it's time to live again. It's time to be renewed. It's time to let go and grow. There is a natural thirst in life that cannot be denied. No matter how much at times we want it to, we think there is no more future. There is nothing more for me. I am flat out, which is really what my God, why have you forsaken me is. We've all been there, and we've all somehow risen up. The wave in the ocean that goes out will come back. And this is where we become powerful metaphysicians, where we are called to look at that disappeared empty land, that desert land, and say, life shall be here. Life will return, and it shall be good. This comes from your spirit. This comes from your knowing, a natural hunger to return to life. Have you ever been there? I am never dating again. How'd you do? Some of you, I'm never marrying again. Yeah, you are. It's those I nevers. We feel so beaten down. I'm never going to trust again. I'm never going to put myself out there again. I've learned my lesson. This is your stubborn ego, and you're hurt. And I understand that. But it's not your spirit. Your spirit just takes a little back seat and says, we'll get there. We'll get there. You need some time to heal. And time is an important ingredient of our process. But with enough time and with enough grace, and because you are encoded with divine life, you can't not be that. It will rise up again. And suddenly, there you are at the coffee shop. You're like, he's cute. Life. It always rebirths, but it begins with a hunger. Now, what's beautiful about our times of crucifixion, and I mean really beautiful, stay with me, is that when the field is cleared, it becomes open for new possibility. And this is where we here at Unity and in the metaphysical teachings and ask you, beg you, please don't recreate the past. This is what we do out of fear, right? We recreate the old story. We find ourselves exactly where we were with new faces. The same story, different people. Now, that's okay. I mean, there's no judgment against you. This universe isn't going to criticize you. You can do that as many times as you like. In fact, some of you have probably done it for lifetimes. But when we awaken, we go, okay, I can repeat this cycle, but what if I didn't have to? And what else is possible? Those are the good questions. Those are the right questions, because suddenly you slow down and you go, I don't want to rush through this thirsting because I don't want to impede my greater possibility. And that's what's happening to Jesus in this story. He is going into the most fantastic expression of being. And he cannot impede it with any story of the past, any story whatsoever. But what we can tap into is vision. And that's the living word for I thirst. I thirst is the last word. The living word is vision. You see, inside of that life force that's going to start to birth and rise up again, there's a vision in the center of that for you. It's got your name on it. It smells like you. It knows your language. And it knows your gifts and talents. And it knows what your next journey is. And you want an optimal expression of it. You want to feel yourself really become something more. It's a natural drive within you to be more. This darn world, I'm going to say it that way, this darn world, just dumb them down, dumb them down, dumb them down, dumb them down. Play safe, play safe, play safe. None of those are directions from God. None of those are directions from God for you. Nowhere in the Bible does God say, you know, you really should just dumb it down. Nowhere does God say, okay, who do you think you are? Right? I mean, I gave you the whole kingdom, but really? God, we have to snap out of it. We have to. And wherever you are in your life, today is the day to snap out of it. You are immersed in an infinite universe, surrounded by a field of pure potentiality, able to access infinite power, and you're going, oh, I don't know if I can? What? That is not your voice. That is not your voice. You can and you will. You will. You can delay it, no doubt. You can delay it. But are you willing to not delay it this time? Yes? My mighty four. I don't know what I would do without them. Are you willing to not delay it? Oh. Cracked open the universe. This is so important to understand. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to do it. As you move to higher spiritual laws, your job becomes easier. Isn't that crazy? The higher you go in your awakening, the less you have to do. Really. The less you are required to do. Why? Because you never had to do it all, but in lower levels of consciousness, you think you do, and therefore you do. But as you rise up, you can't, and you can't hold more consciousness by doing. You can't hold more consciousness and healing power and grace by doing a lot. You hold it in your being. And the more you focus in your being, the more gets done through you. Isn't that a fascinating paradox? Yes. So that's... Okay, calm down. I'll tell you when. The higher laws you access, the less you do. And that's a change in consciousness, isn't it? That's tough. That's tough because we have been affirmed for what we do, right? And I always read, like as a little kid, you tied your own shoe, look at you. You got that blue ribbon, you got that grade on your test. It was succeed, do it in the world, do it in the world, do it in the world. And if you didn't, then you got the opposite reaction. So you were trained well to be a doer. You were trained to be an accomplisher. And in that, the ego grabbed hold and it said, I'll get you there. We'll muscle up and we'll make it happen. But in the ego construct, the part that said, I'll muscle up and make it happen, comes from a belief that I'm not enough or I'm unworthy. So do you feel the broken equation of that? I was talking about this yesterday. In this very town, there are multimillionaires who have done a lot with their muscles, but can't sleep at night, or are depressed, or don't feel good, or are afraid. And God bless them. That's only because the ego is still running the show. So this awakening, this passage is about becoming free of that and moving into the Spirit doing the work through you and for you. And when you open to that and you listen and you commune with it, a new vision of who you're meant to be, you'll get glimpses of it. One of the spiritual practices I learned from my minister, Michael Beckwith, at Agape in Los Angeles when I was studying there, was a practice called visioning. And we're starting to do it here a lot more. And it is my vision that everything will be birthed through this practice. Because it's a very intentional thing where you start with God and you open up and you know that there's the highest vision already established in whatever you're birthing. And you tap into that and you listen and you energetically become it. It's like you download the highest vision. And once you download it, what happens? You become magnetic, you feel excited about it, and it starts to come to you. It starts to come to you. When I founded my spiritual center in Chicago in 2003, named the Bodhi Spiritual Center, it was me and Patrick and maybe a couple people around our dining room table. And I started for 3 months visioning before we even opened our doors, every Wednesday night. And more people started coming. There were nights when we'd have 30 people in our house. And I'd look around, I'm like, I could never have chosen these people. I don't even know more than half of them. What's happening? How is this happening? I am clear, those moments where you know, I am clearly not doing this. And more and more and more people came to the day when we opened the center, 130 people in the very first service, just by telling people and feeling the energy of a vision. A vision pulls us forward. One of my favorite sayings by my minister, Reverend Michael Beckwith, is, pain pushes until vision pulls. Right? Pain will push you. And if you resist and you bear down and you hold, and you can do it for a while. But pain is going to get worse. And you're not being punished. You're just in relationship with life. And life is saying, oh no, baby, you're going there. And the harder you bear down, the more it's got to push. And it gets harder and harder and harder. But then you realize, maybe I don't have to grow through pain. Maybe having a vision that excites me and pulls me out of my comfort zone and feels so magnificent. Maybe if I put my focus and my attention there, I will be pulled. Hey, buddy, how are you? You can sit anywhere you want, buddy. A vision pulls you, and that's what this thirst is about. And again, please hear me. This is inside of you. You don't have to go find where the next expression of life is going to be. Even when you lay down your body, there's going to be inside of you life. Hey, let's grow into our next expression of being. And you're going to see how gigantic and magnificent you are. I've heard many times people have had after death experiences, many times. If you've heard the story, I feel like 99 out of 100 times, if not more, they say they didn't want to go back into that tiny, cold body. It was way too small for them. So what we do here and what you can do here is access the largeness of your spirit inside. Well, you're not in your body now. I want to be very specific about that. You can access your greater being and you will realize, oh, I'm operating on a much larger level than this spacesuit. These are the truths of you. And when you know these truths, you become available for such a larger expression of who you are. And that is what Unity of Naples is here for. We are here to help you become who God created you to be. Yeah, go ahead. In that acorn is an oak tree, not a tomato plant. Nothing wrong with tomato plants. But that oak tree doesn't want to be anything else but an oak tree. In you is God, the life of God, the breath of God, the being of God. That's what you were created from. You can't be anything else. So why don't we stop trying? You're not your title, you're not your body, you're not your relationships, you're not the things of this world. You are the divine light in back of it, creating it. And you're having a blast doing it, by the way. You're having a blast creating. And even when things blow up and fall down, the Spirit's like, oh, cool. Did you see that? Man, I splatted on that one. Awesome. Let's do it again. There's no judgment from your spirit. Your spirit there's no failure in your spirit. It's just like, let's do it again. You have access to infinite supply. Let's do it again. So this week, I want you to thirst for the greatest thing that you could ever thirst for, which is the awakening of God. The revelation. We're not playing small here. The revelation of God as your being. Thirst for that. It is said when we are single-eyed focused, when we want God more than anything, that's when it will happen. So this week, give it a try. Just thirst for God. Thirst for God. If you want a cup of water, go, I think I want water, but what I really want is God. I think I want to have a meal, but what I really want is God. I think I want to beat that person up, but what I really want is God. Everywhere. Everywhere. I'm telling you, it will be a magnificent week. You can walk out and forget this invitation and come back next Sunday. Some of you might, that's fine. But those of you who have ears to hear, this is a transformational week. We are moving now very rapidly into Easter Sunday. And when this preparation to that day is very important to me, it's my personal journey, it's our personal journey. And it's the journey of Unity Naples, which has called forth its rebirth, its new vision of here to be. And it will not leave us out. Everyone gets to go and grow together. Yes? Awesome. Take a breath. Whew. How about we have our prayer chaplains in training and our prayer chaplains stand, please? I want you to hold the space for me. These people are studying to deepen in their awareness of their oneness with the divine and their ability to pray more deeply for you. The rest of you, I invite you to turn within. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Almighty Creator, beautiful God, Mother, Father, cosmic being, presence, love. These are the names for this thing called God, this magnificent life. Eternal and forever expanding. Nothing opposite. All that there is, this light, this love, this power, forever renewing, forever growing and expressing. And I am that. I am this power. I am this love. I am this force. I am this light. And as this is true for me, this is true for each one of us here. We are the very expression of God. That's who we are created out of. That's who we are here to be. That's who we are becoming. And in this moment, I speak a blessing upon that encoded thirst. The part within us that says, I want to grow. I want to know God. I want to know my greatness. I want to live in the higher laws of being. Take a breath. And I speak a blessing upon that drive. And I ask the Holy Spirit, turn it up. Turn up the thirst. Turn up the inherent desire for us to be that which God created us to be. And in this being, all is transformed. Aches and pains are gone. Disharmony is returned to harmony. Dissatisfaction is restored to so much appreciation. And that where there once was lack and limitation, there are solutions and overflowing abundance. This is who we are. This is what is ours. I'm grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. And in gratitude, I release this word into the action of the law that only says yes. And so it is. Amen.